founders have different types of groups that they can consult with, and each has advantages and disadvantages, and there's a good specific time for reaching out to each of these groups. One of the greatest benefits of having a very supportive spouse or a best friend is that they're not professionally involved, and sometimes they're not as emotionally involved as you are. They are objective, and they are supportive. You have a complete alignment of interests. They truly want to help you. And I would seek constant advice from a spouse or a best friend, because sometimes just being able to communicate the challenges and the dilemmas and the difficulties with someone, anyone, especially if they're not directly or professionally involved, is already a great support. Because by communicating your difficulties, you're admitting that you're having difficulties and you're halfway towards a solution. So between your spouse or best friend and your, say, board of directors, you have certain groups or networks that you could belong to and could offer both professional advice and emotional support. So these could be groups like or organizations like EO or YPO, or alumni networks related to acceleration programs, for example. And these groups meet on a regular basis, say once every 2 weeks or once per month, and they have these forums where each individual can share difficulties or dilemmas, and the other members of the forum share their experiences. Usually you don't get advice, but you learn from others and from their experiences. And the individuals in these groups have the relevant experience to provide good emotional and professional support. So these networks would actually be the perfect place to share both emotional dilemmas and questions, as well as professional challenges, because sometimes these are long-term relationships with professional, high-level executives or individuals who can provide hacks and help solve difficult challenges and problems. I believe it's critical every founder or founding team finds the most relevant advisors. Advisors can be per area or topic, or they can be generalists. Either way, I think founders should talk with their advisors and be very transparent and open about their challenges, because the role of these advisors is to help solve problems. The main difference between advisors and the previous groups is that they are more professional than friendly or there for the emotional support. They are there to solve problems, professional problems. So I would go to advisors when I have very specific, very clear problems, and I would communicate very clearly what I need to get done. And then even if the problem is confusion, that is how I would communicate the challenge. I would say, I'm confused. Can you help me solve this confusion? Either way, it's most important that you communicate very directly and ask for a very specific end result, because the job of the advisors is to find a solution for you. That's what they're being paid for. It is critical to be very open, transparent, and honest with your board of directors and your management. Having said that, because they have interest in your venture, you need to be very careful with how you communicate your challenges. You have to communicate your challenges, but you have to prepare for these meetings, and you have to be very clear about the situation. It is best if you can share a proposed solution and ask for their advice or their guidance in executing this solution. In some cases, I would go directly to investors or to board members with very specific questions, even if they're very critical, because they have, or supposedly they have much more experience and they see a lot of different teams in very different situations. Sometimes they can provide the solution. It's important to be prepared for these meetings in advance, because if you miscommunicate your problems, you might damage the way you're perceived. And I think this is the main concern for founders. They want to be very well perceived both with their board of directors and the management team.